Hello, hello. This is CKM again. I'm doing another one of me guides for newbies. It's an update on claims. Anyone who is actually going through the playlist, this is probably somewhere around the 8th or number 8 is part 8C or something like that, possibly. However, it's been done a whole lot later than the original guides for newbies, so there's some different stuff in there. But the reason I actually want to do this video is just to make a few more things clear on how you get claims. I'm not going to go too much in detail on like the fabricating and all that bollocks. It's more about the inheriting claims and where they come from, and also the strong versus the weak claims. And one particular point which I completely missed or misread, and which I want to demonstrate. So hopefully this isn't going to take too long. So what I'll do is I'm going to plough straight in. It will involve me pausing the video though and reloading to show you the effect of what I'm trying to bang on about. So the first thing I want to say is where you get just a quick sort of recap of how you get a claim. We've got this character up here. He owns these three here. He's the Duke of Slavonia, and what he's done is he's got two claims here. So if we have a look, he's got strong claims on Senj and on Usurer, right? Okay, so that's all fascinating. How did he get those claims? Well, he got those claims by doing the standard send your counsellor off to fabricate the claim, and we got lucky and he managed to get two very quickly, right? So how do you get your claims? The standard way, as we know, is to go through the fabrication of the claims. We know that also you can go through de jure claims. Another way that you will get a claim is if you lose any of your titles. So if the king here, our liege, or someone else, or anyone comes in and takes one of these counties or the whole lot off, or the dukedom off us, we will automatically get a strong claim on that area, okay, on that holding or that title, because we had it and we lost it. So you'll automatically get a strong claim. So then that's all very lovely. The one I want to talk about then, I guess, is inheriting claims, because this is the bit that I think I missed. And there's a few aspects to this, but it's the key one, or the one I really want to look at now, is this little tooltip here that says will not be inherited unless pressed in war. Now I kind of thought that what that meant was, well, you've got to press it in your lifetime, otherwise you'll lose it. However, it doesn't quite mean that. Now this might be obvious to everybody else, but it was blatantly not obvious to me, and it's something that needs to be aware of. So what I want to do firstly is I'm going to fast forward the game. I've got these two claims here on these two counties, but I'm not going to press them. I just want to show what happens when he dies with his with these two claims. So I'm going to pause the game, fast forward it, wait for him to croak it, and then we'll come back. Okay, so finally this motherfucker has died. I've just been sitting here for 5 minutes fast forwarding it, swearing more and more at this screen. So anyway, the old bastard's finally died. Let's get that out of the way and pause. So remember where you are. It's only been a few seconds, I guess, on the video, but for me it's been friggin' forever. We had strong claims on these two and we didn't press them. So we've now got this guy here, and as you see, he's our heir. All those claims have just disappeared, alright? So all of that effort for that just shows you where that you basically, if you don't press them, you lose them. So that's kind of a bit bloody obvious, we know that. So what's the big point? Well, let's go back again. What I'm going to do is reload, and then I'm going to show you the thing that I missed, but which is probably obvious to everybody else. Okay, we're back again. We've reset the game. So what's the point of all of this faffing about that I wanted to show? It's coming down to these two, what this red thing means. Before, like I say, I assumed it meant unless he presses it, it's gone. So you know, you want to make sure that he presses it in his lifetime, but it actually doesn't mean that necessarily. What it actually means is you can actually, by pressing it, you could what's called renew it, and then what does that do? Well, it changes it into a claim that can actually be passed down even if you fail. So let's have a look. Let's do the first one. It's nearest us. This Usura. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare war on him for just Usura, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to immediately surrender, because I don't want to fight the war. So let's offer peace, surrender it, blah blah blah. He'll probably stick us in jail. So we'll fast forward it. Dum dum dum. Wait for 7 days, wait for 6 days, blah 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 blah. Hey, wait. Right, there we go. The war's ended. He stuck us in prison, which is actually good because it might mean we might die quicker. So let's have a quick look at what has happened here. Well, there you go. It's swapped, and this is the bit that I kind of always assumed. Well, you've lost the claim then because you failed in the war. In this case, we pressed the claim and we failed it. But actually, what you've done is you've actually renewed it, which means now that one can be inherited by a successor, whereas this one on Senj will actually be lost forever. So again, I'm going to pause the game and we will move forward until he dies, and hopefully the fucker dies a lot quicker than he did last time. Okay, so finally we died. We actually died a bit quicker this time. That's because we were in prison and I asked for mercy and he stuck me in the Obeli Willy or whatever, and anyway I died. So we've got our new heir here. So what he's actually got, forget this Hungary one for a minute, let's go back, pause the game. Remember we had claims here. Well, now that claim, Usoer, has actually now passed down. However, it's become a weak claim. So we originally, his dad, we had him as a strong claim. He renewed the claim by pressing it even though he failed and had to surrender. It's now moved down into a weak claim. But however, it has moved down. However, notice that Senj hasn't moved down into a weak position. At the same time, also, all of his children have got a weak claim. Okay. So all of his brothers, his little brothers, have got a weak claim as well. There's also a claim on Hungary, which I'm guessing has come from his mother, possibly. Not entirely sure. Oh yeah, she was Hungarian, so she must have had a claim on Hungary somehow. And that's passed down as well. Again, so the key point here really, I guess, is this whole red and green bollocks. It will be lost if it's red. However, if you press that claim yourself, even if you fail, it can actually move down. So why might you want to do that? I guess theoretically there could be some claims that you might want someone to press on someone else's behalf just to get it to go to their kids. Maybe their kids are going to be of your dynasty or something like that. I don't know. Maybe you've married one of your daughters matrilineally to someone who has a claim on, on a particular county. Maybe you don't want to necessarily press that claim yet for reasons. It might be that you can't. You're not powerful enough, whatever. But maybe if you have enough money, you could press the claim. And then immediately surrender, although it costs you prestige and everything like that. What you'll then do is that claim will then go down to your kids, and because will go down to that person's kids, and because you've married matrilineally, those kids will be of your dynasty, which means that they can then press their own claims later. So that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. It's a bit maybe long-winded, and maybe it's of only interest, or maybe it's of interest to no one, and I'm the only person in the history of this game who missed it, but I totally didn't really appreciate that. The only downside is that it is a weak claim, and as you know, weak claims can only be pressed against a female ruler. So in this claim you need to have a female ruler of Usora or a regency, or it's already being contested in some sort of succession war going on, or the actual person is second or third in line already. So if this guy was second or third heir to Usora, he would be able to claim it. He would be able to push it. As it is, he can't. It's not there. Okay. So that's just one thing on the weak thing on the other claims. So that's just one thing I wanted to talk about on claims. We've discussed how you get them, which is fabricating them. But also how once you've fabricated what you can do to make sure they go down at least another level, and the way you do that, as I've said, is you press that claim and that renews it, and that's something I hadn't appreciated. Okay, this is kind of part 2 of this video, I guess, and this is now looking at the different types of succession planning, or the different types of succession laws, and how they then affect claims passing down, because it does actually have an effect. And again, this is something that I was never really all that up with. So what I've got here is I've got the same bloke we had before, except it's now at a different time, and as you can see, he's been knocking the children out willy-nilly. Okay, so what we've got here is he's got 5 daughters and 3 children, and the key thing here though is we are currently at Gavelkind. Okay, or Gavelkind. So therefore there's an issue where we've got these titles here. Basically that county is going to go off to the second son. As if you might remember, let's go back to the pretenders of the throne. The heir to the throne is our eldest son on a Gavelkin, but then you have the next son is also an heir, and then we have our eldest daughter. If we come back, Svetlana, that's her there. So those are basically he's the heir, and this one and that one are the second and the third in line. Okay, so that's quite important to know, because what's going to happen when he dies under Gavelkind as opposed to under, say, elective, that's kind of what I want to show now. So what I'm going to do is, we do have this strong claim over here on this Ramo. I'm going to ignore that for the moment. I just want to look at what happens with all these claims when he dies. The other thing just also to note as well is our wife has a claim, although it's a weak claim on the Kingdom of Hungary, it will be inherited by a successor, so that will also appear when he dies. That will get passed down, so we'll have a quick look at that as well. So basically where we are at the moment is we are on Gavelkind, so I'm going to pause it, fast forward it, wait for him to die, and then we'll see what sort of claims we get. I'm then going to restart, and I'm going to change to the elective monarchy to see if there's any difference, and hopefully that will be vaguely enlightening. So bear with me, and we'll come back once again when this bloke finally decides to die, which will probably be forever. Okay, so we finally croaked it. We hadn't had any more kids, and we were on Gavelkind succession here. So remember, we had he was our eldest son, he was the second in line, and she was the third in line. So what does this all mean? So let's pause it again. So let's go and have a look at him. As you see, he's got no claims whatsoever. We'll have a quick discussion as to why that is. He's inherited everything, bar one county which he lost, which was this one over here, I think, which went to our second son, or now his brother. However, he is his vassal because he's the duke. But have a look here at him. He's got a strong claim on the Duchy of Slavonia, and it can be inherited by a successor. So therefore, why has he got that? Well, that's because it was Gavelkind. Although he inherited that, he was the second in line, and so he then got a strong claim on the thing he didn't inherit, the main title, which was the duchy. So let's also go and have a look at his elder sister. She also got a strong claim on the duchy, because it was Gavelkind. She actually inherited nothing, but she was the third in line, so she's got a strong claim. However, let's have a look at all the others, which are the ones further down, and what they've gained is a weak claim. So this was our next sister in line after her. So our oldest sister's 24, the next sister is 21. Then you go to the next sister, who's 18. She also gets a weak claim, and then you go further down here. All of them have ended up with weak claims. So the rule basically with Gavelkind is you're going to get some claims, okay, and you're going to get claims. The guy who inherits the main title won't get any claims unless there is one big thing here. Say he actually had two dukedoms, our father, so that when Gavelkind kicked in on the succession, we lost one of the duke titles. Well, then this bloke here would actually get a claim on that duke title, and the reason would be is because the second duke would now be independent. As it is, that hasn't happened, so you don't have to worry about it. But basically what's happened with Gavelkind is you have to look at the three heirs to the throne. He was number one, so he got the primary title plus two of those. Then you look at the two below, they get strong claims on the primary title, which is the Duchy of Slavonia. Then all the other kids have got claims on the as a weak claim. Alright, so again, I suppose, why do you give a shit? Well, because I think you look at things like that. He's a title claimant. He's getting a -20 opinion of you because he's got a title. He's a title claimant. And now, admittedly, the weak claims also give you a title claimant, but it's harder for them to push it. But it just means that under Gavelkind, you've got to be careful, because although you've got members of your dynasty and they're your brothers, in this case your sister, they're not going to like you as much. In her case, she does because she's content. But you see, there's a -20 has been hit there. Okay, so that's kind of what I wanted to show. That's Gavelkind succession. So let's pause, reload, and we will have a look at what happens under feudal elective. Okay, so we've reloaded the game here. Before I fast forward it, so we've got the same situations as we had before. We've got the 3 heirs there. But what I'm going to do is change it to elective monarchy. Okay, there, and then I'm going to nominate him. Okay. So that basically is all well and good. That's all I've done. That's all I've changed. I'm now going to fast forward it again. I just spent my whole time fast forwarding it, trust me. I'll pause it and fast forward it, wait till he dies, and then see if this has any impact. Okay, so finally we had our death. Let's pause it all now. So the same thing has happened before, where he was our nominated heir. Remember, we've changed this all to elective. So what's happened now is he's obviously got everything this time, because it wasn't Gavelkind. So what happened here? He was the second in line. Now he's got a claim, but this time it's only a weak claim. Beforehand, under Gavelkind, he got a strong claim. Then his eldest sister, she was third in line. She also got a strong claim, but now it's only a weak claim. And the rest of them, of course, all got weak claims last time, and they do again. So there's the first thing that I guess you could look at, is that you only get weak claims. As opposed to strong claims, which is kind of interesting, I guess. What does it mean for opinions? Well, he's still a title claimant, so it's no different. It's just that his claim isn't quite as good. However, the one question I suppose is, if he's second or third in line to inherit, well, I guess he's first in line to inherit, so let's nominate him. Okay, let's have a quick look here. So she was third in line to inherit. So I don't know whether that means she could actually push her title. But either way, as you can see, there is a difference, basically. By having elective, we didn't really have pretenders, I guess, to the throne. Under Gavelkind, we did have pretenders to the throne. And those two pretenders both got strong claims on our titles, which can be passed down, and obviously it makes them more dangerous, because with a strong claim they can obviously push that claim. The one question I suppose I have here is, because it's elective, does this guy, who has a weak claim on our title, because he's basically he's first in line. I mean, is he first in line? He's currently first in line. She's actually second in line at the moment. Although under elective, I guess it says there isn't a second in line, so she probably can't press that as a second in line. She can just only press that claim if it's a female ruler, regency, or the title is being contested. So there's the first thing about inheriting claims. If you use Gavelkind, you're going to create strong claims from the pretenders to your throne, whereas with elective you're not. So there's a big difference there. What I'm going to do now is continue on down this track and see what happens, because I don't know what happens if you change it to seniority. So if you want to stick with this, I'll come back in a sec. Right, and we're back to where we were before, which is we had Gavelkind, we had these two here. Now, because of the Crown Authority above us, i.e. this geezer here, he's managed to get up to medium Crown Authority. It means that we are able to change our succession laws to include seniority. Now, I don't usually have seniority, but I'm going to do it because I want to see what effect it has. So let's change it to seniority, which means, as you can see, whoever is going to grab this title is changed quite a lot. So it's basically gone to the oldest person of our dynasty who's there, which happens to be our spy master. So what I'm going to do now is now the problem with this is all these pretenders are going to swap about, but let's have a little look to see what happens when I croak it and see if we get. My guess is, because I've not done it, I'm guessing at the moment that what will happen is, well, I mean, he'll obviously get everything. I'm guessing these two will now get strong claims because they're pretenders. So let's have a little look to see if that's what happens. The suspense is killing. Okay, so we finally died, and this is what's happened here on this screen, which is very interesting. So we finally get the pretenders on the screen. So what actually went on? Well, the new guy who took over, this is seniority. So this was the oldest bloke we have in our dynasty. So he's taken over. The next two, there was our son, 37, and then there was the current king, who's actually the ultimate liege. He was also 37, but I'm guessing slightly younger. So therefore, out of all of our kids, we had just one of our children was in the top 3 under seniority. So what does that mean? Well, if we have a look at him, well then he has, similar to the Gavelkind, because he was one of the pretenders, he has got a strong claim. Okay. Now remember though, on the Gavelkind we had the third, another one in the top 3 was this one, our oldest daughter, but she now only gets a weak claim. So basically what has happened is all of the children have got a weak claim, apart from her, but that's because she's dead. So I suppose that's fair enough. But if you're a pretender, you get a strong claim. So therefore, in summary, I guess, I'm not going to go through the primogeniture, but it's basically a similar thing, I would assume. So basically, what's been the point of the whole of this thing is that if you're looking at inheritance, well, what do you have to care about when it comes to succession laws? Well, if you've got, if you go for the elective one, which I often do, the benefit of that, I guess, is that no one gets any strong claims on the throne. That's because I guess it's not going. There's no pretenders to the throne. You just elect someone to be your heir. Everybody, all your children will get weak claims on the throne, but they can't. But that's no good to you. So it's not too bad. It's not too dangerous for you. However, if you go for Gavelkind, or primogeniture, or seniority, well then you have pretenders to your throne, and those pretenders will be the second and the third in line. And those second and third in line, whilst all your children again will get claims, and they'll be weak claims, except the second and the third in line will get strong claims, and because they've got strong claims, they'll therefore be able to enforce them straight away, or when they feel ready to, and therefore that's more of a threat. So it's just something to be sort of worried about with claims on your own throne. So that's a lot of, trust me, that's taken me hours to go through and run this game. I'm not sure if it was worth it, but it was something that I always tended to ignore when it came to the inheriting of claims. It's showing how claims sort of pass all the way down. You need to just be aware that if you have different succession plans, you will create different claims further down on your kingdom, either strong or weak ones, but particularly the strong ones. Weak ones will always go down to your kids, but strong ones will go down to successions where there are pretenders, which will be, I guess, seniority, primogeniture, but also Gavelkind gives you some as well, whereas if it's elective you won't get any of the strong claims coming down. And then the other thing from the start of the video is just if you've yourself fabricated some claims, and they will only be inherited like this one here, unless you press them in war, well, you can actually get them to go down by just trying to press them, even if you fail. So I'm not sure if this has been of any use to anyone. It's just maybe some extra little bit of finesse on the whole claims and how they pass down. I'm sure I might have got some of it wrong, and I've probably missed some stuff as well, but I just thought I'd add this on, because as you go along, and as I go along, you find more and more depth to this game. So I hope this has been useful. And I have no idea how long this video is because I've been all over the shop. So this is CKM saying see you again soon.